caregiving history. I took care of Gen X here, took care of my siblings while my parents worked and ignored us, watched out for them. Then, of course, when I got older, when I went to junior college, I lived near my grandma, and she was alone, and I would go over there 2 or 3 days a week. She would feed me lunch. I'd go over on Saturday and roll her hair, take her downtown, to get her medicines, her candies, whatever she needed, her groceries. I would go do all of that for her. We had Meals on Wheels coming for her, but she had heart failure, y'all. She didn't do much of anything. And she didn't like me to do a lot for her except roll her hair and help her be pretty for church Sunday morning. She did like that. She did like to take me down to the drugstore and show me off. So that was great. I was very close to my grandma. And then, of course, you've got kids. Kids are a lot of caregiving, y'all. And then nieces. I had a bunch of nieces I took care of because I was the stay-at-home mom. My husband had his own business. Did we stay home? No, we didn't. I was always running to find parts or oil or grab food, cash to take to the work site. This was at a time when we used cash and checks. There was no cards. Very few people I knew had a credit card. So it was cash and checks. He'd run out of checks, call me. Wherever he was working around this state, that's where we had to go. And so I was always going, always had a pile of kids with me. And then, your kids grow up and they leave home, they go to college, and they get pregnant. And then you've suddenly got grandkids. And that is one of the best things about being a grandparent is you get to help take care of those babies. While they finish school, while they find jobs, they don't have to worry about paying for a babysitter. They don't have to worry about someone crazy taking care of their kids or their kids being in an unsafe environment. And you get to build that special bond and relationship with those kids. It is wonderful. Now, I've got a ton of grandkids, ton of great grandkids. I took care of grandkids while I was still raising my kids. I had 2 of them that one of them nearly lived with us for a couple of years when she was a baby. And I mean, we've always had kids. So when my niece and my daughter got pregnant, I took care of those babies so they could finish nursing school and college and find their jobs and, live their life without a lot of worry and concern about what they were going to do with this child. Blessings. And then, of course, our parents get older and get ill, and my mother and his mother both had Alzheimer's, and that was a long struggle, and they passed within 3 months of each other. And his sister took care of his dad after that, which was nice. I mean, we go visit, but she handled the daily, and my sister-in-law, they did it together and handled the daily stuff. I had my hands full with my dad. My dad lived with us at the time, and after his stroke, and he had blood cancer, which he didn't. When he had his stroke, they told him about it. He didn't tell us about it for 3 years till he landed in the hospital again, and the doctor came in and he said, "Do you know this is your platelet count, and this is very, very dangerous, and you are at very high risk for another stroke, and you need to go see an oncologist." And he was like, "Oh yeah, they said something about that when I had that stroke, but I didn't worry about it." Men, you ladies will understand. And then, so I took care of my dad. Lots of doctor's appointments. I mean, we had to go to the oncologist once a week for several years. He was on medications. We had to adjust his medication constantly. He had to go in for labs every week. Then they moved it to once a month. And we did that for years once a month. And, when the oncologist saw that he was really doing pretty good and he wasn't going to just croak after 6 or 7 years, he changed it to every 2 or 3 months. So extended it out. And but we're always adjusting his meds because he never got stable. And my dad was a smoker. He broke his hip one time because he was in a hurry and wouldn't wait on me to come help him. So he fell and broke his hip and ended up in the hospital, and he went through a lot of DTs coming off those cigarettes, y'all. And I had to walk out of the hospital and call my brother and tell him he had to come handling because he was being very, very hateful and hurtful to me. And I just wasn't going to deal with it. I said, I got to take him home after. You're going to come deal with him now because this is really bad. And so once he got that out of his system and he went to the rehab place for 90 days, when he came home, I threw all that stuff away, y'all. All his cigarettes, all his e-cigarettes, everything. It had been out of his system for over 100 days. There was no reason for him to go back on it, and nobody could stand to go in his house while he was smoking. And we wanted to visit, and he needed grandkids to come visit. And so it was just better. He adjusted. He got used to it. Still ate his Chips Ahoy cookies, drank his coffee, drank his pop, and happy camper. Cheeseburgers every day. That's what my dad lived on, y'all. I had to go to town every day to get him a cheeseburger. I cooked him cheeseburgers. Oh, no, no, no. He wasn't going to eat that. He always had a list, a daily list of where he wanted his cheeseburger from. And I did all that. I did everything. Whatever he needed, I did it. And I did it till he came home and we got on hospice, and hospice helped me. And, I was there till he passed. So, a couple years ago, my brother had pneumonia really bad. He's not married. His daughters don't live near him. He came to my house after he got out of the hospital, and I did infusions for him for 2 weeks. So I've done a lot of caregiving, y'all. And I don't mind it. Now my husband is my plate.